All right, let's get started making this adorable Winter Village table runner. Grab your pattern from our website and let's get started. First, you're going to trace all of the pieces onto either Heat and Bond Light or Steam-A-Seam. You can use either one, whichever works best for you. Trace all of the pieces and parts individually because you're going to fuse them to fabric and then build the layers as you go. You can cut all of the pieces out, but you do not need to be precise here. Just cut around each one prior to fusing it. Iron the pieces onto the back of whatever fabric you're going to use for each one. I just used a basic white for the snowman. Now we're going to cut each shape out and then precisely cut around the outlines of all of your shapes. Once you're done cutting, you can peel the paper back off and they will be ready to fuse. Next, we are going to draw our snow layer. This can be as wavy or hilly as you want. Once your fusible is on the back side, go ahead and cut this out in whichever way you want to, and then peel off the backing, and then your snow layer is ready. Start by fusing the snow layer to your table runner fabric itself, but do not press around the top. You want to leave that top edge able to lift up so you can tuck your pieces underneath. Next, you can start adding in all of the pieces of the Winter Village. Peel off the paper backing, layer them under the snow in whatever order you want. Once you're happy with the layout, you can start fusing them to the table runner itself. Continue doing this and building each layer until everything is fused and appliqued down. Next, we are going to do the top stitching. I like to use a blanket stitch, but you can also use a zigzag or a straight stitch or any decorative stitch that's available to use on your sewing machine. I am using an open toe presser foot so that I can see the edge of the material as I am stitching, and I will be changing out the thread colors as I go. So first, to start, I'm going to do anything where I want to stitch the edges in white. So I'm going to get all of the white pieces done and go slow around those curves and corners. You may have to stop, lift up your presser foot and pivot so that your needle will go around the shape nicely. Feel free to get creative here. Play around with the thread colors that you're using and the different stitches you're using as you're appliquing each piece down. You want to make sure you're stitching along all of the edges so that nothing comes undone. So continue along, making sure you get all of the items stitched in place, again, using whatever stitch you want that your machine has available, thread color, and if you want to do some things by hand, you can do that as well. Now for this snowman, I am going to do some embroidery here. I'm doing French knots for the eyes, and I'm going to do a satin stitch on his nose. It does help to put it into an embroidery hoop to keep the fabric nice and tight. It makes for easier stitching. And then we're also doing a back stitch for his little mouth. Tinier stitches work better here. I'm using 2 strands of thread. You don't want it to be super thick. And then finishing up that nose. It's so cute. Well, now that we are done with all of the applique and all of the stitching, it's time to put this together. And so we're going to start by putting fusible fleece on the back side and then our back fabric as well. Once that is done, you can quilt this any way that you want to. There's no right or wrong here. You can quilt with a meander or a wavy line to make it look like snow. That was what I did throughout the sky, and I'm doing that along the snow base as well. I did not quilt over the applique pieces themselves. You can do so if you would like to. It's all up to you. Take your time with the quilting, make sure you're happy with it. And again, I just skipped over the village pieces themselves and stitched in between to make it look like we have a fresh blanket of fluffy, wavy snow. Now it is time to square this up. You want to trim off any excess hanging off the sides, the top, and the bottom. You want to make sure everything is nice, neat, and even before we start adding our binding. You're gonna want your binding to be about 10 inches longer than the overall dimension of your table runner. So go ahead and measure the length times 2, the width times 2, and add 10 to that. Then sew your strips together as I'm showing here. Cut off the excess and then go ahead and open that up. Once you have all of your pieces sewn together, you're gonna do a 45-degree angle on the end of your binding, trim that off, fold that down and press with a hot iron, and then you're going to press your binding in half. To add the binding, we're going to open it up and we're going to sew down about 2 inches. Then you're going to close the binding and pick up the stitching where you left off. We're leaving that front part open as our binding pocket. Now, when you get to the bottom, you're going to want to leave your needle in the down position, pivot, and sew right off that corner. Fold your fabric back at a 45-degree angle and then fold it forward on top of itself and then continue stitching. And you're going to repeat that on all 4 corners. Continue stitching all the way around, and when you get to where you ended, you're going to open up that pocket, trim off any excess, tuck the raw edges in, and sew that down to hold it all in place. Now open up your binding, and I am doing glue basting with Roxanne Glue Baste It, and I am using the glue and then pressing with my iron to hold my binding in place. And now I'm simply stitching in the ditch, which means to stitch along where that binding was attached to the table runner on the front side, and it is also picking up the stitching along the entire back side. That's it, you're all done.